you want to know how to code? Well, you came to the right place. So you want to know how to start coding in 2020. Now that we're not playing guitar, here's a little bit of a serious note. Coding isn't for everyone. You need to realize that now. If you don't have the capacity to sit in front of a computer typing away for hours on end, coding isn't for you. Let's be honest. The reason you're here is most likely because of Fortune 500 companies. Now, the simplest way you could start programming is, drum roll, to start programming. Now, you don't have to necessarily worry about a specific language or technology. The best way to start is to just start. Now, we have a resource, and it's Google. And if not Google, then Yahoo. And if not Yahoo, then Bing. But in all seriousness, there are plenty of ways to learn how to program and to code. Start off specifically with a smaller project that you think needs a fix, like a solution to a problem. Like, say you want to organize your own library. So you want to make a application that's able to tell time, like a watch or something along those lines. You can do that. That's a small project. That's something you could start off learning. Now, the reason I say that these smaller projects are the best way to learn is because they're interactive, and it's not like courses where you code along with them. Starting off with these smaller projects, I also mentioned this in my previous video. You could check it out. It should pop up right over there. In my previous video, I mentioned that these smaller projects are more interactive, and keeping it as a hobby is the best way to learn how to code. Now, that is true, and there are different ways to learning, but my personal favorite is to do these smaller projects. They leave a little more of an impact on your coding. Now that you've started on a smaller project, you might want to be able to jump into a specific coding language. Like I said earlier, it doesn't really matter where you start, just as long as you're interested and you keep wanting to do it. Now, once you figure out that project-based learning and you really want to hop into something, that is when you learn the specific coding language. Now, for me, it was JavaScript. I wanted to make websites that were interactive without having to load the web page over and over again, so I chose JavaScript. And for you, it might be a simple mobile application, so you might want to learn Swift if you wanted to develop something for like an iPhone or an iPad. Or maybe you want to go to Java for something along the lines of a Android application. Now, these projects are detrimental to your learning ability, and they will teach you how to learn by yourself, which can be useful for many other things in your life. Now, imagine your ability to code, right? Now, compare this ability to code to something an athlete has to go through when they're training to get to the point of being a professional. So for coding, it's practicing by yourself, doing these smaller projects, but you can imagine it as if you are practicing, say, like bouncing a basketball and shooting it to get to the pros. Now, how athletes learn is they do it themselves, they practice constantly, and they reinforce their skills by playing games. And in this scenario, it would be doing these projects to reinforce your skills. Well, now that you've done these smaller projects and you think you've almost mastered what you think you need to know, then you move into the courses. Now, I would suggest you use something like Codecademy or Free Code Camp. Now, Codecademy is a website in which you can learn pretty much any language you need to know, and with it, you are able to learn these languages very quickly, I might add, and for free. Now, what you need to realize about these courses is that they are code-along courses, and they don't give you a lot of freedom. You have to do what they want you to do in the order that they want you to do it in, which can be helpful at some times if you're lost and you need help, but it could also be a pain if you are trying to learn it in your own way to solve the problems you want to solve, which is where project-based learning comes in. So I would also suggest something like Udemy. Udemy is a video-based course website that allows you to learn these topics, learn these languages, these coding languages, and it allows you to do it in a manner that would show you how to do it in a professional way. With these video courses, you get some bit of humanity in them, unlike these code-along courses that tell you what to do and how to do them specifically. With these video courses, you are able to get something you wouldn't be able to out of something like the Code Camp courses. My favorite part about the video courses is that you're actually able to like find an instructor that you would really like, and with that instructor, you are able to learn the way that they learned it. And if you're a fan of the way that they code, you're able to actually learn the way that they do it. So in a way, it could teach you organizational skills when you're learning how to code, and it can teach you code structures. That's why I personally find these video courses to be the most useful compared to something like Free Code Camp or Code Academy. It's important to realize that these are code-along courses and that you shouldn't get too comfortable coding with them, because if you do, you might not figure out a way to code by yourself. You might not ever feel confident in your coding ability. Well, now that you've started off with the smaller project-based learning and the coding courses, you might be able to pull off a larger project, which is indefinitely the best way to learn how to actually master a language. With these bigger courses, you might want to build something like an app to give to people around the world and share it around the world, or maybe you would want to build a website that might be able to change hundreds of thousands of people's lives. With these, you might be able to start a business or build something like a portfolio. Once you hit this stage, you're probably about 6 or 7 months in. And with this stage, you really, really, really want to learn how to organize your code. And there are a few books. I'll put the links in the description. With these books, you'll be able to learn how to code a little more confidently and learn from professionals, sort of like the video courses, but a little more in depth. The last thing that I'd like to really add, to have the ability to code, you must have the ability to sit in front of a screen for tens, hundreds, thousands of hours to learn these things. Obviously, these things come at a cost of your time and your effort and your motivation. But if you're not exactly comfortable with sitting in front of a screen for hundreds of hours, well, let's say practically a few hours a day, you can start practicing by doing 2 hours, 3 hours a day. And really the most important thing that you can gather from this video is that starting in general is the best idea and the only way to start coding. Now, starting is the basis of coding. It's the basis of learning anything, really. And if you don't start, you'll never get anything done. So just get started on that small project that you've always wanted to do. Or even if you don't know how to do it or don't know where to start, look it up on Google or any other search engine out there. And you should, by the end of this video, feel confident in how to learn. And hopefully you are able to reinforce your coding skills by doing those courses and doing the smaller and bigger projects. And in the end, you should know how to code. Now, if this video helped you, make sure to leave a like, share it, and maybe even subscribe. I'm going to be posting new content once a week, and I honestly hope you guys get a lot of entertainment value out of these videos. I hope I'm able to help you guys out. That's what I'm here for. I've been through a lot when it comes to coding, and I also have to admit that I do have a lot more to learn, but that's why I'm making these videos for you guys, so I can feel a little more confident about myself too. And with that, I'd like to say bye.